So what's the theme of today's talk? Love. It's February already, right? The groundhog saw its shadow, so there's 6 more weeks of winter. Burr. All right. So let's warm up with some love, okay? We're calling this year, the year of 2023, a year of possibilities. In January, we affirmed that change is possible. Not only is it possible, it is consistent. Change is always happening. Always, always. And we affirmed, I am ready for my change. And that came with a disclaimer early on. I was like, when you claim that you're ready for your change, it's going to happen. Watch out. Actually be ready for it. For some of us, changes in our lives may have caught us off guard. So some change did happen, right? We experienced it. Some of it may have caught us off guard. But remember, the universe is continuously unfolding. It's like the ceiling of this room when it was built. It was built to remind us of the unfolding of our consciousness. We are in a continuous flow of divine energy. But sometimes it feels like God, like the universe has taken something away from us. Rest easy, my beloveds. In order to move forward, we must let go and take steps forward toward our highest good, our highest being. And sometimes the universe may be thinking, hey, you've been sitting here for a while. It's time for me to give you a boost. Let me take this away so that you will move forward. I know it's a cliche at this point in life, but the saying, when God closes a door, he opens a window. But there is some truth to this. The universe is working for us and through us. The universe may remove something in order to get us to move on. When this happens, it can make us feel uneasy. It can make us feel hurt. We can doubt our faith. Love can heal that. This month we affirm that love is possible. Through all that is going on in this world and in our minds, love is possible. Love heals the hurt of the past. Love heals the fear, the uneasy, the doubt. Through my faith, all things are possible. I am ready to give and receive love. Like last month, this comes with a disclaimer. It feels really good to say, I'm ready to give and receive love. Pour it on me. I love you. There may be some challenges once we start affirming this every day. Is people and events that are hard to love are going to show up in your lives. Remember to give that love. That's the hard part. It's easy to love the one you love, the one that you like. Sometimes it's hard to love the one you don't understand, the one you don't quite get, the one that pushes your buttons. I'm ready to give and receive love. Today's daily word shared a verse from Mark 5:34. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed from your disease." So for this talk, I was curious about this. So I looked at more of the verse. So the verses leading up to it, Mark 5:24 through 34, is the inspiration for this talk. And it reads, "A large crowd followed him and pressed in on him. Now there was a woman who had been suffering from a flow of blood for 12 years. She had endured under many physicians and had spent all that she had, and she was no better, but rather grew worse. She had heard about Jesus and came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak. For she said, 'If I touch his cloak, I will be made well.' Immediately, her flow of blood stopped, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. Immediately aware that the power had gone forth from him, Jesus turned around into the crowd and said, 'Who touched my cloak?' And his disciples said to him, 'You see the crowd pressing in on you. How can you say, 'Who touched me?' He looked all around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling, fell down before him and told him the whole truth. He said to her, 'Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease.'" So literally in this story, we have a woman who's been bleeding for a long time. For 12 years, she's been bleeding and can't stop it, and she's been to doctor after doctor after doctor. She's exhausted. She's given all that she can, and it's gotten worse. She heard about the healing power of Jesus, so she went to him and was like, "Even if I can just touch his robe, I can be healed." And so that's what she did. And I'll get to the end of the story later. So, looking at this through a metaphysical lens, we have a woman in this story. This woman, in Greek, the word for woman in Greek signifies the intuitive perception of truth, reflected into the intellect from the soul. She also represents the unspiritualized love that is natural to the body. It's our spiritual intuition. Our spiritual intuition that is showing up in our mind. It's love that doesn't have spirit attached to it quite yet. So we have our intuition here, okay? And then the blood, she was suffering from a flow of blood. Blood is spiritual principle introduced into human consciousness. It's spiritual principles. It's what we come here for every Sunday. It's what we read about to learn. And we learn spiritual principle. We study spiritual principle. So she's been receiving spiritual principle, but it's not staying. It's bleeding out. It's running away. It's been going on for 12 years. 12 is spiritual fulfillment. So our spiritual intuition is fulfilled. It's been being fulfilled, but yet we're letting it go. We're letting it spew out. We're not holding on to it. We're not trusting it. And so in the story, she's seen many physicians. Physicians, the great, omnipresent, healing, indwelling Spirit of Jesus Christ. The healing, indwelling Spirit. Again, we see that indwelling healing spirit. We talk about it. We know it is within us. We're not letting it take hold. We're not letting us heal us because we're not looking inside. We're looking outside for that healing. We're looking for something else. I've heard about that. Let me go touch it. So Jesus is the perfect expression of man. That perfect balance of wisdom and understanding and thinking and feeling. So our intuition was like, I know that's there. I've heard about it. If I could just touch it. Just touch on the outside. The robe. So the robe, the garment that Jesus wears, it's the radiation or aura that surrounds the body. It's that extension of Christ consciousness. The Christ consciousness extends out. It's not just in, it is extending out. And our intuition knows that if it can just touch it, it can be healed. And Jesus said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." Daughter, illuminated thoughts. Thoughts quickened through their consciousness, your relationship to spirit. Your conscious relationship to spirit. Illumined thought. It's that thought of, I can be healed. It's that thought of, there's more. I'm worthy. I am a child of God. And the faith is that the deeper knowing, that deeper inner knowing. It's beyond our intuition and our intellect. It's our intuition and our intellect, and going deeper, it is that deeper knowing of our faith. And going into that deeper knowing, we can heal, which is bringing forth the Christ that exists within you. So, when we're in that space of, I've been coming to Unity, I know the principles, I've been learning them, I study them, I know they're there. But I'm not, if I could just touch on that Christ Spirit, I could just touch on it. I could touch that robe. I could be healed. Go into your faith. Your intuition is there. Your knowing is there. Go into your faith and bring forth that Christ Spirit in you. Heal the fear. Heal the doubt. Heal the worry, the uneasiness. Heal that disease. That disease of that error thought that you are not enough. And then not only can you touch that robe, you can wrap yourself in that robe. You can wear that robe because it's exuding from in you. It is that Christ presence. And what is that Christ present? What is Christ consciousness? To put it into a single word, it is love. So yes, love heals. When you love yourself, when you use your intuition, your spiritual intuition, and your intellect, you can stop your spiritual knowledge from bleeding out. You can heal that and fill yourself back up with it. In Meredith's meditation, she had mentioned about being completely spent, of not having the energy to go on with that. Heal that with your inner Christ energy, and that will stop, that'll heal that wound that is leaking all that out. You can fill yourself back up with that. So I'm going to read a story that I got from Facebook Inspirational Stories. Get Kleenex ready. For me, I know the story and I'm going to cry. Okay. So from Facebook Inspirational Stories. Well, today didn't go as we hoped, but it's in the hardest times that we learn the best lessons and feel the most gratitude. Buffy, a dog. Buffy was scheduled to have her teeth cleaned and removed today, but Dr. Mack had a gut feeling she needed to look at some lab work before putting her under anesthesia. She was right. Buffy showed signs of advanced kidney failure, so anesthesia was not an option. And as a family, we decided that the kindest and most loving thing to do would be to let her go before she lost her will to live and stopped eating and drinking. I wouldn't have dreamed of leaving Robbie out of this decision or not allowing him to be part of the entire process. So I immediately went and picked him up from school. On the way there, he told me he wanted to be the one to hold her when she went to heaven. And of course, I gave him the honor. On the way home, I told him how proud I was of him for understanding the importance of caring for old animals and helping to make sure they never suffer. This is what he said. And for those that you don't know, Robbie was adopted from the foster care system after years of severe abuse and neglect. I know how it feels not to be loved or cared for, and I don't want any animal of mine to ever feel that way. It's only sad for us when they go to heaven. It's a very happy day for them. Thank you for being proud of me. Are you okay, Mom? From the mouths of babes. As our story is being shared more and more, I feel like I need to add a little more context and also give you a deeper glimpse into the heart of my son. We adopt senior dogs. Robbie loves adopting senior dogs. He is sadly aware of the longer a child remains in foster care, the less likely they are to be adopted. He told me once, if all you guys had wanted was a baby, you would have never have gotten me. He relates to our old people, that's what we call our senior dogs, in much the same way. He has also reminded me on several occasions that it doesn't matter how long you have something for how much you love it. I asked him what he meant, and he said, well, you've only known me for 2 years, but you love me like it's been forever. Yes, my son is the coolest. Robbie wasn't receiving love, and then he did. He received love from his adoptive parents, something he wasn't getting in the foster care system. But receiving that love from him inspired him and gave him what he needed to give love back, because he saw the importance of it. So you can give and receive. Give and receive. Love is possible, even in the darkest of times. I'm ready to give and to